A very important statement in Python for controlling the flow of your program is the if statement. By now, the if statement has probably already been used in some of the videos that you've seen, but it's time to discuss it more in depth. I'm going to be running a program in the shell on the left side of my screen that I have written on the right side of my screen called if_demo.py to demonstrate the if statement. I'll go ahead and use the Run menu, Run module, to execute that code. The if statement depends upon a condition to determine whether or not it should execute a suite or block of code. If you have a condition that might be false, like an age variable that's 0, then that block of code will not execute. And so we do not see the printout of false conditions do not execute, so these statements won't print. However, if your condition is true, like an age variable that is 1, any non-zero value is considered true, then we see that that indented suite of code does get executed and those statements did print. Now, the condition doesn't have to simply be a true or false type of value. It could be based upon comparison with some other value. For example, if the age is set to 17 and the if condition is age greater than or equal to 18, then the if block will not execute because that condition is false. 17 is not greater than or equal to 18. The second part of an if statement can be an else clause that will execute when the condition is false. So in this case, the block of code that's indented under else executed, and we see it printed, "You are too young to vote." In the next example, we'll see that if can be followed by elif statements. In this example, the score is 91, and it will print out the grade was and then a space. If the score is less than 60, it would print F. If the score was greater than or equal to 60, but less than 70, it would print D. If 70 was less than or equal to the score, which was less than 79, it would print C. Else, if it was 80 that was less than or equal to the score, and the score was less than 90, it would print B. If 90 was less than or equal to the score, and the score was less than or equal to 100, it would print A. Now, assuming the score can only be a maximum of 100, the else clause would print if none of the other if or elif statements were true, which in this case should be impossible. It's a good idea to always include a else clause, even if you do not expect it to possibly print out, in which case you might print out some message to let you know that something unusual has occurred. There are a couple short forms of the if statement. One of the forms that I like to use is just where you have one single statement to print when the if condition is true. No else clause can be used, and it can only be a single statement that executes for the if block. So in this example, if debug is equal to true, it will print score was and what the score was. So the score was 91, as we saw before, and that is why when the score was basically between 90 and 100, it printed A previously. So for debugging purposes, you could easily have a statement like debug equals true, and then throughout your code use if debug print something to help debug your program while you're developing it. Later on, once the code is ready for production, you could always change the value of the debug variable to false. And then none of your if debug print statements would execute. So this is one short form, and there's one really good application of it. Another short form that you will see on rare occasion can be used for assignment. For example, if we were looking at the score, if it was greater than 59, like a D or better, then the result variable might be assigned pass string. Otherwise, if the score was not greater than 59, then the result variable would be assigned the fail string. And you can see with the score being 91, by virtue of this if debug print result was, and then the result would be a pass. Now, in a second example of using a assignment, there's a short form of this that you can use with an if statement. In this example, the score is 40, and we see that that if debug will print that out. But in this case, result is assigned equal to the string pass if the score is 59. Otherwise, if the score is not greater than 59, then it will be assigned the string fail, just like above. However, this is another form of an if statement that can be used for assignment. And as you can see, it only uses one line of code instead of 4 lines of code for that to work. So with the score of 40, the final if debug shows the result would be fail. So result was assigned fail on the statement just before that. So now you've seen in Python how to use the if statement for conditional execution. It'll execute the block under if or elif when the condition is true. It'll execute the else blocks when the conditions are false. If you happen to have a multiple if-elif group of statements, the first if or elif that matches a true condition will execute, and none of the other statements within the if block will. We also saw a couple short forms of if where you could do a one-line if true type of condition to execute one statement, or where you could use if to do an assignment.